I remember being so disappointed to find out that Christopher Columbus never discovered America. There's so many things that we were told about things in Christianity that we can prove are not true. But people got people to agree, making it true to them, right? There's so many things we've seen in medicine or the food pyramid that just simply weren't true. But if someone says something loud and long enough, people can make a lie seem true. Now, there are things that have been done with advertising and with campaigns. We see this a lot. You know, even in politics, we see a lot of things people will say to get your vote. And the reality is, the truth ends up exposing, in the end, what was really real and what wasn't. Now, all of us in life have these situations where we know there's something we really was hoping would come out of this that would lead to something special for us, something great for us, something monumental for us. And for whatever reason, it didn't come true. Did you know there's actually a pattern that we can understand that causes people to maximize opportunities and other people to lose them? When you think about opportunities in life, everything that we are confronted with every single day comes down to who was able to take advantage of opportunities. There is no one that doesn't get some level of opportunity if they really, really look for it. Now, there are some people who have more opportunities than others, but at the end of the day, if you really are looking and if you're really watching, there's always something that you can look to. And when those things come about, it's how you respond that makes the difference of what actually happens in your life. Now, my heart goes out to so many people all over the world who don't have resources, don't have the different things they may need, certain countries that don't have the same level of food, water, all these different things. But when you think about so many that have access to so many resources and don't actually use it to their benefit, it's really, really a great tragedy. Well, today, we're going to talk about why does this happen and the actual place where opportunities go to die. Now, when you think about this process, right, of how actually, we lose sight of opportunities coming to fruition, opportunities becoming what we wanted to actually be, I want you to think for a minute about missed opportunities. When you think about missed opportunities, I think all of us could agree there's something in our life that we realize was a missed opportunity. And we have to be honest about that, because if we're not honest that missed opportunities exist, we won't take it seriously to make sure that we stop missing opportunities. So think about that investment opportunity that you didn't act on. When the first time you heard about that stock or that real estate opportunity, or whether it was some new thing that you heard about and you really could have taken advantage of it. And then later on, you see that something good came from it, but you weren't paying attention, you didn't act, or for whatever reason, which we'll talk about some things today, you talked yourself out of actually doing something that could benefit you. What about an idea that you had? You ever had an idea and then you're up late one night and you see some infomercial, some commercial, and they're actually doing the thing that you thought about before. And you're like, oh my God, somebody did that was my idea. That's what you're talking to the screen saying, that was my idea. Well, a lot of times the difference between that person and you is someone actually moved forward with the opportunity. And so missed opportunities are just so critical in life, whether that's in relationships, job opportunities. We have seen this many times where we look back and say, man, I should have did this differently. I should have acted differently. I should have responded. And you think about that moment where maybe you sat there and you didn't say nothing, or you didn't actually do what you knew you could have done, or you didn't prepare like you could have in that moment. And all at once you feel like, wow, what a missed opportunity. I remember I was in a situation, I was in Philadelphia, and I was there to speak to, a lot of youth and kind of inspire them to improve their life and what have you. And all at once, everything changed because the president was coming. At the time, Barack Obama was president. And all at once, the president was coming. They changed the whole agenda. And now, instead of speaking in some little room with a few young people, I was on a main stage in front of thousands of people and being streamed all over the world. This stage now had completely changed. And I had to, speak about everything I was going to talk about in like 7 minutes and explain everything that we were doing at the time and how it could benefit everyone. Well, I think back about these things, and although the speech went well, I got a standing ovation and people loved it. But I think now, like, if I would have had like a lead magnet ready or something for some people to go opt into, to sign up to learn more about what we were doing, if I'd have had something to give everyone and I had walked away with 5,000 emails that I could continue a relationship with and make some money from it, I mean, it was millions of dollars at stake right there if I had a better plan. That was definitely a missed opportunity, even though I did well. But I'm, courageous enough to see the missed opportunity. Instead of just celebrating a standing ovation, I'm willing to look at that. Sometimes you don't want to look at that. It's like, let's just focus on what went well. But you have to notice that, because you know what? I guarantee you that will not happen again. If I'm in a situation where I'm on a stage like that and I have to speak, I've got several options that I will be sending people to make sure I can get those email addresses so I can talk to them again. And so you learn from these missed opportunities if you're able to recognize the pain of a missed opportunity. If you can really recognize what it feels like, right? To not really get out of it what you should have got out of it. So in a sense, it's the pain of a missed opportunity that creates the solution to not feeling that pain again. And so this is why we want to really take the time to understand how this all works. Now, speaking of the pain of missed opportunities, I just want to talk for a second about another level of this, because there's the pain aspect of missed opportunities. But now I want to take a moment to go a little bit deeper into the patterns associated with missed opportunities. Let's dig in. All right, now it's time to move from pain to polarity. Yes, polarity. I want to talk about that for a minute. Now, some of you might know this word. I'm going to go to my whiteboard for a minute. Now, we want to understand that there is a very critical law in physics called the law of polarity, right? And this basically says for every action, there is also an equal and opposite reaction. Now, this is important. We talk about an equal and opposite. So it lets us know that not only is there an equality in terms of the same type of energy or what have you that's in the first action, it's equal to it. But another key element that I want to focus on is that it is opposite. So this means that you can never have just one side of anything, right? So you can't have, you can't have a one-sided coin, a one-sided pancake. Shout out to pancakes, one of my favorite breakfasts, right? You can't have a one side to anything. Now, the reason this is so powerful, and I talk to entrepreneurs about this all the time, is that you can never say something is only bad and something is never only good. There's always two sides. You want to be in shape, you got to work out, right? You want to be more healthy, you got to eat better and sacrifice something that you really like. If you want to have love, you got to commit the time necessary to build the love. Whatever you do, there's always an equal and opposite reaction. And this is important because it allows you to realize that nothing is ever completely bad, right? You can say, I had a horrible day, but nothing can be only one thing. So there's got to be something in that thing that is good also. So you say, well, I'm really dealing with this and I'm dealing with that, and all at once you look into it and say, oh my goodness, but I learned this. I learned how to treat people better. I learned how to sacrifice better. I learned how to be more patient. I learned how to work through stress. This caused me to get closer to someone important in my life. I learned how, you start building a list and it's like, wow. I think about some impacts of my life and things I went through as a young man, watching my mom go through domestic violence, going to 6 different elementary schools, and just all the things in my journey. But it really was some of the best times of my life, depending on how I look at it, right? A lot of what I've ended up doing in my life, in my career, and helping people all stemmed from those darkest moments. So was it bad or was it good? Where did it really come from? All of this is very, very important to understand. It's all how you see. So when you think about this, I want you to think about something for a minute. And I want you to consider that similar to polarity, we think about opportunity. I want you to think about that there are negatives and positives, even when we think about opportunity. So think about it this way. Sometime I could miss an opportunity to do something that is not good for me. So say I'm trying to eat better and an opportunity comes to eat the wrong thing and I miss that opportunity. Well, that could be a good thing, right? If I have an opportunity to actually maybe build stronger friendship by giving time to something for someone, and then I don't do it, I missed a positive opportunity. So we want to understand that there's these two sides to how you can have a missed opportunity, right? So we can have a negative side to this, and we can have a positive side to this. And when you think about this negative and positive, something I want you to consider is that you can get in a pattern, right, that actually is involved with when you start missing opportunities, you don't realize there's certain patterns that you're starting to develop. So sometimes when we feel that sense of someone appreciating our work, we might have a pattern of shutting down when we feel people are complimenting us too much. We put ourselves down. We might have a pattern of when people don't compliment us and don't say good things, we feel like we need to do more to let people know who we are, and we go too far. So there's always these two sides, right, of how we respond, how we do things, because there's a polarity and there's a pattern that is always shaping. So you want to be very careful when you think about these missed opportunities to make sure that you're not in a situation where you're not really clear of exactly what is happening to you. And so as a result, whenever certain things trigger you a certain way, you have a pattern of missing an opportunity because of how you tend to think. Or when you begin to get confronted with certain things, right, you have a pattern of changing that opportunity into something that is negative because you're thinking about what could go wrong, how it won't work. So you end up in this pattern of always looking for the wrong side. When we say polarity has this positive and negative side, a positive opportunity comes and you find the negative, right? Now, it is true. Some things are going to require effort and work to be able to experience that positive opportunity, but that work is not negative. It's just the part of the work that you have to do. So think about this. When I go back here to my whiteboard, so sometimes what we define as an equal and opposite reaction, or it's the negative, side, if you have positive and negative, sometimes it's not positive and negative. It is effort versus fear, right? So now what I'm really dealing with, I've changed this to become something about whether or not I can do it, negative, positive, but now I'm seeing that really For me to have that positive thing, I just need to put the effort in. But what I'm really calling negative is really just fear of putting in the effort. So what we want to do is be able to think differently about opportunity and how we judge what an opportunity really is, and making sure we don't use the law of polarity to get into a pattern of finding the wrong thing to make us not do the thing that could make us better. Now, I want to break down to you a distinct process that we all go through, and this really is how it happens and where opportunities truly go to die. Let's break it down. All right, now I want to explain to you the process that we go through that is most lethal. And there are 3 steps to us taking an opportunity and putting it in a graveyard. Now, we want to understand, what is this thing that we go through, and how does it work, and why does it keep tricking us from some of the greatest opportunities that we could have in life to be able to move forward, create more wealth, better health, better relationships, to be more successful? We want to understand this so we can break the pattern. Now, I'm gonna go to my whiteboard here, and this really is built around 3 L's. Now, it's great that we're talking about L's, because sometimes when people talk about L's, we're really talking about losses, right? And these are 3 words that begin with L that actually lead to us losing opportunities. So let's break each of these down. The first phase is things start with a lie. And a lie, again, this is the story we tell ourselves about a future that is unknown. Now, something we have to be really clear about: no one can tell the future. So, not to be harsh, but even if it's something positive or something negative, neither one of them is really true. If I say, today, I'm going home and I'm going to get there at such and such a time, that might be my goal, but I can't guarantee the future. I can't say that something won't happen, or I'll get in a car accident, or something might come up, or there might be traffic, or there might be something that stops the whole freeway before I can get home. I can't guarantee that, right? And when I tell myself that I'm not able to make 6 figures in a day, that I'm not able to teach a webinar, like I'm not good with technology, when I tell myself I could never learn how to be a better speaker, it's all lies, because I can't control the future. I can't make something true. Only God can do that. So when you consider this, everything that we tell ourselves about why we can't succeed in an opportunity, most of it is a lie, because we can't control the future. We can't dictate the future. So we have to make a decision. Do we live in anxiety or in anticipation? Both of these are things that we can use for good or bad, because the future is unknown, but I could live in anticipation of what is possible, or I could live in anxiety of what is not possible, of what will go wrong, or why things won't work. So we have a tendency to tell ourselves a lie. As soon as there's an opportunity to be better, to grow, to do something bigger, we start to tell ourselves, we build a case. We just start to tell ourselves all these things: why we can't, why we're not good enough, why we're not strong enough, we don't have enough, smart enough, pretty enough, I don't have, I'm not rich enough. The list goes on and on of the I'm not enough of, right? And we feed this over and over and over. But first, there has to be a lie. The second element to this, right? Let's go back to the whiteboard. And this is really a process. The second element to this is we listen. So, I will say it this way, that A lie is not dangerous until someone listens to it. Let me say that one more time. A lie is not dangerous until someone listens to it. So think about this. This is all a conversation we're having with ourselves. And if you don't think you can have a conversation with yourself, I think you know that's not true because you're having one right now. When you think about all the 70,000 thoughts that we get in just one day, and as soon as an opportunity comes in front of us, those thoughts don't turn off. You get all these thoughts hitting you, and you look for the reason that you can't. You look for the reason that you won't. You look for the reason that you're not good enough. And then you make the mistake of listening. Now, listening is to receive and agree that the lie is true. Now, doesn't that seem kind of strange to agree that the lie is true, right? So how can a lie be true? It can't. They're opposites of each other, right? Lie and truth is two different things. But it is the act of listening to a lie that can make a lie true. True to who? True to you. So think about that. The way that we perceive and listen to a lie has the power to make a lie true. It doesn't mean that the lie is true, but it means I have the power to make the lie true. Now, we see this so many times throughout history and throughout life where people have told lies that ends up being received as true. I remember being so disappointed to find out that Christopher Columbus never discovered America, never even came to North America, right? There's so many things that we were told about things in Christianity that we can prove are not true. But people got people to agree, making it true to them, right? There's so many things we've seen in medicine or the food pyramid that just simply weren't true. But if someone says something loud and long enough, people can make a lie seem true. Now, there are things that have been done with advertising and with campaigns. We see this a lot. You know, even in politics, we see a lot of things people will say to get your vote. And the reality is, the truth ends up exposing, in the end, what was really real and what wasn't. But think about this. Consider a political campaign, and someone is thinking about, I want to win this campaign. Whatever it is I got to do, whatever it is I got to say, I want to get their vote. What can I do to get this group to respond? What can I do to get this people to over here to fear? And I want these people to get excited, and I want these people to feel like we can, or I want to use fear to make people trust me, or I want to use joy and happiness and hope to make people trust me. Whatever route I go, I have a plan. But imagine that you have a little opportunity-killing politician in your head that is building a campaign against you and is thinking about, what could I tell myself that would best make them vote for not taking this opportunity forward? This is literally what goes on in our mind. If we don't pay attention, we don't see how many things that our own thoughts will throw against us to try to get you to cast your vote to not try, to get you to cast your vote to not make an effort, to get you to cast your vote that you're not good enough once again, until you rise up and you realize you don't need to even vote for anyone else. You're in control and the opportunity is yours. But if you don't really see that, we go to the third step. Let's go back to the whiteboard. The third step in the process is we leave. Now, what are we leaving here? We are leaving the opportunity. So we depart from the opportunity and agree with ourself that the effort is not worth it. So this is the final phase of causing us to fully disconnect from what was possible, and we went through a process. 3 steps that really begin with a simple misunderstanding of what was really in front of us, a looking and different perception of what was true, beginning this smoke and mirror, cloudy, experience that caused us to make the wrong call. Now, I want you to think deeply about what I just said, and I'm gonna head over to the wall and really make sure that you got this down, because we gotta put a stop to the 3 L's so we can have the opportunities that we deserve. Let's head over. All right, here we are, and it's time to immerse into that whiteboard that I showed you, and behind me has the process that is in our way. And I want you to really make a commitment today to not allow this to happen to you anymore, because we're going to find out, how do we defeat this process? How do we work against this process so that we can have more successful bouts with taking advantage of the right opportunity? So let's look at this. So think about this for a minute. So when you think about a lie, we talked about the lie. It's the story that we tell ourselves, right? About the future that is unknown. It's the absence of truth. Now, I want you to understand there's a transition. So as we go from lie to listen, right? We have to begin to at least entertain the actual lie, right? We have to take time to hear it out. So one of the things that we want to start with is the recognition that the wrong type of thoughts are being fed to us. See, when you really take the time to listen to someone, you really pay attention, you devote energy to listen. It takes energy to listen. This is why so many people struggle in their parenting. They struggle to be good teachers. They struggle to be good counselors. They struggle in relationships. It's because listening takes effort. It takes effort to actually listen. So what I want you to understand is this transition from a lie over here to actually beginning to listen this requires us to entertain this thinking long enough, right? Long enough for it to become something we have fully listened to. If you ever heard someone talking and they'll stop and say, well, hey, are you listening to me? Are you listening to what I'm saying? Are you getting this, right? And, some people want to know, like, is anyone paying attention? And a friend of mine like to say, are you picking up what I'm putting down, right? Whatever it is to try to say, do you really get what I'm saying? Well, in this instance, we don't want to get it. We don't want to listen. We don't want to pay attention. So we have to work in reverse and know that this is a time where listening is not good, right? So we want to be conscious of how much time are we entertaining the lies we tell ourselves? Are we able to catch that at the point that we hear it and to not continually think about it over and over and over again until it becomes something we have received and fully listened to, right? So this is one of the most critical steps, right? Because there is no action until we listen to the lie. We have to listen first. So we want to be able to catch things to be able to tell ourselves that's not true, right? That's not fact. That is not real. Now, sometimes something is a fact, but it's not a fact that means that we can't take advantage of an opportunity. So let me give you an example. Let's say that I was requested to speak in front of an audience of 100 people. And let's say that I tend to get nervous when I speak in front of a crowd. So the lie comes up and says, okay, you can't speak in front of a crowd of 100 people, right? That's a lie. But inside of that lie, it says you get nervous when you speak in front of people. That's a fact. But my ability to separate the lie from the fact and to not allow the lie that has been built around a fact, because remember, it just takes a small percentage of poison to make a meal kill someone. Or, when you look at rat poison, I guess they'll say what small percentages is actually poison, but it still kills the animal or whatever. It's a great example to understand. It doesn't take much of something to actually destroy it all. The Bible says a little leaven, it'll leaven the whole lump. So you might have a fact that's in there and you mistook that as truth. But no, it's a lie surrounding a fact. So you have to be able to cut that fact out and not listen to the lie that was the outcome, or I should say was built around the fact. So we have to be able to separate those. Now, let's go a little bit further. So now, let's say we made the mistake and we listened, right? So we receive and agree that the lie is true. We're now receiving this and agreeing. I can't speak in front of those people. I could not be able to learn how to build a sales funnel. I won't know how to create a webinar. I don't know how to actually learn this particular skill that I need for me to be able to advance in my business. I could never be able to do this in that way and lose that much weight or change how I eat. I couldn't do it. I've tried before, right? So we listen and we agree. And through that agreement and listening, we make the lie true. All right, but here's something to keep in mind. We still haven't taken any action yet. So did you know, if you really understand this, it is possible to have listened, but to say, wait a minute, let me go the other direction. I did agree, and I did receive the lie as true, but I began to think about the process I'm talking about now. It's, you know what? That was a lie. There's no reason I couldn't do this. There's no reason I couldn't accomplish that. So what I do is I go backwards now, right? Let's go back. And I start addressing the lie. If I can catch myself in the listening step, even though I went too far, I can go backwards and say, wait a minute, I want to change my mind. This is what is so powerful about us as humans. We can change our mind. Even our brain can grow. It can make new connections. We don't have to do what we said we were going to do. I love the scripture in the Bible. The Bible talks about there was those who said they would go, but they didn't go. And there was those who said they wouldn't go, but they went, right? So we have the ability to change our mind, and that can work for us or against us. This is the difference between us and other creations that were created to only do their own will, right? An animal will always do the will of an animal. They follow the nature. They do things based on seasons and instinct, right? The angels in heaven were created to do the will of God. That's why it's impossible that there was a fight in heaven and someone got kicked out. That's not my subject right now, but you can check some of my other episodes where we just blow that out of the water. That is not possible because angels do not have their own will. But mankind is the only creation that he created that can actually say, I changed my mind. That's why we can do things like change our eating habits. Like it's our natural instinct to eat certain things. And we could say, I'm going to fast, right? You won't see a lion do that or a elephant or something, right? We can decide that we're going to just totally do something that is not normal to human behavior because we are creators. We can do these things. So the power in that is, this means that we can actually listen to something, receive it as true, change our mind, and go back in reverse and confront the lie. So think about this. We think, we feel, and then we act. But we learn to reverse that and say, I'm going to take the actions to change how I feel, to change what I'm thinking. So instead of waiting, some people never are able to go to the next level in their life because they're waiting to feel like doing it. But you never will get those feelings because you currently have the wrong thoughts. You have to just start doing the things that don't make sense to you right now because of who you are today, and start changing who you are by doing things different than you've always done. It's like somebody who wants to be more fit. You're never gonna feel like working out, right? When you're getting started and you're trying to get it going. You're not gonna feel like eating lettuce every day and salad and tomatoes, right? Every day. You're not gonna feel like cutting back on donuts and candy and sugar if you've been eating that a lot. When will you ever feel like that? You won't. But somebody makes a decision in their life and says, I don't care how I feel. I want the outcome so much that I'm going to do what I need to do, right? And when you do that, it hurts at first, but if you keep doing it, how many of you experienced this? If you keep doing it, you actually start craving working out. Did you know your taste buds start changing for certain things? You try to eat something sweet and it feels like it's sweet times 10. Because you're like, I haven't had nothing like this. Your stomach get upset. Your whole body is revolting against, don't put this in here. We haven't had this in a long time. Why? You retrained yourself. You changed who you are by doing the thing before you felt like doing it. So this means we can go from listening back to the lie, and we can do something about it. Now, let's keep going though. What about when we get over here to the leave area and we depart from the opportunity and we agree that, I'm not gonna put the effort in. It's just not worth it. Well, it's all lost. Well, you have left, right? So clearly you have left the opportunity, but here's the other beautiful thing. We still can change our mind. So I didn't go get that certificate, but why can't I do it now? I didn't take that opportunity, but if it comes again because of what I learned, I'm going to take that opportunity this time. I didn't take make the effort to make that phone call and have that conversation with that person that I needed to. I left, but what about picking up the phone today and having that conversation? So many times there are some missed opportunities that are still repairable, right? And when we recognize that, sometimes and oftentimes we can even be at the state of something that we actually left behind, and we can work backwards and we can go all the way back to changing what we listen to and changing the lie that we listen to and actually getting the life and the opportunity that we rightly deserved. I hope that this has done something for you. And I hope that all of you that are out there and you're thinking about that thing that you should be doing, that calling you feel on your life, that pressure to be greater than you are now, that you'll realize that the cycle must be broken. We can't stay where we've always been. This is why here at URCO, we talk about being the CEO of your life, right? Being the CEO of your thoughts, your background, your childhood, your insecurities, to fight, to be able to have the opportunities that are all around you. And if we just see the opportunities, there's always room for us to grow. I'll leave you with this story in the Bible where there's a great man of God there, Elisha, who was there, and they were up against a great fight, an army, and there was a servant there. They were surrounded by this army, and they just felt like it was no way to win. They were outnumbered, 2 people against a whole army. And the man of God there was not worried at all. And the young man was wondering, what is wrong with you? Do you see this? There's no way we can win. And the man of God simply said, "Oh Lord, open his eyes." And when he opened his eyes, he looked up and he saw chariots of fire all around the mountains angels everywhere. And he said, they be more with us than be with them. And I tell you this, that a lot of the battles that we fight, we have to realize we have more within us that we can do to win than the things that we think would make us lose. Make sure you go out and fight for every opportunity that comes before you and get the most out of the life that you are the CEO of by making an executive decision to be great. Until next time, I will see you next episode. I am Mike Lee Parker, the CEO Maker. Make sure you like and subscribe, and whatever you do, stop missing your opportunities. Take advantage of all that's before you.